Dr. Sangeeta has also been recognized as recipient of Young Scientist Award, Eminent Young Scientist Award, and the Distinguished Best Researchers and Academicians Award, among others. Furthermore, she has presented research papers at national and international conferences and won awards from her outstanding work. Dr. Sangeeta is a distinguished member of various scientific organizations, holding life memberships and serving on editorial boards of esteemed international units. So the list might go on. Dr. Sangeeta ji, welcome to our Saturday Talks. And without any further ado, let's hear from Ms. Dr. Sangeeta regarding the new National Educational Policy 2020. Dr. Sangeeta ji, the virtual floor is yours.
I would like to thank the organizer for giving me an opportunity to share my views on the topic National Education Policy 2020. That too specified topic in that is related to higher education. I'm just sharing the screen. So as it is rightly said by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the purpose of education is to make better human beings with skill and experience. Enlightenment human beings can be made by the teachers. So today's National Education Policy 2020, it really aims to build or to develop such individuals, such as students, such a learned persons, which will have the skills as well as they will have a greater academic qualities in them. Next, please. So today I am going to emphasize on the National Education Policy of higher that will emphasize on the higher education. Myself, Dr. Sangeeta Dongre. I am from Department of Zoology, Government College of Arts and Science, and I am really very much privileged to share my views on this topic. Next, please. So the main focus of this National Education Policy is the holistic education, development of an individual. Holistic educational development of an individual. So it envisages major changes to educational framework from primary education to college education. So this section, we will have salient features like what type of the holistic education that this NEP 2020 is focusing. It should be a mental development, it should be a physical development, it should be a social development, it should be a financial development, and it should be a spiritual development. So holistic education, it will have so many aspects that has to be covered in critical thinking side. It has to be one of the education system which will overcome and which will resolve the conflicts. It will also create an individual with a social aspect. It will create an individual with the development of the emotions too. So all-round development, that is the mental, physical, financial, as well as the spiritual and emotional development. It is focusing on all the holistic educational development. Next, please. So this is the main vision of our new education policy that is rooted in Indian ethos and it transforming all those India into a Bharat that is sustainability and equitable and a vibrant, knowledgeable society. So by providing this high quality education to all and thereby making India a global knowledge superpower. Next. So the present system of education was introduced by the Britishers in 20th century. The post-independent Indian focus on education through committees such as the Radhakrishnan Commission was there, then Kothari Commission was there, and so many committees in between 1968, 62, 1986, 1992, and in 2020, the Union approved it, and National Education Policy that is having aim and making this policy at a level that where India, a global knowledge superpower, it should be there. Next point. Next slide, please. So these are some of the things that we are going to emphasize in our education system, which will build a society with true sense of rights, duties, bonds with the country by instilling skill, knowledge, and values in education, which reflect as a true global citizen. Any type of education that every country it imparts, but India has its own own thinking, it has its own root, it has its own culture, which has so many morals and so many democratic things that has to be reflected in its education system. So we have to build such sort of citizen that at global level. So first, when we are talking about the society, it should be an equitable and vibrant knowledge society. So that is again one of our aim in case of NEP 2020. Again, when we are building such knowledgeable society, so obviously the orientation it will be there towards the rights and duties and the values, not only towards the community, but towards the bonding with the country itself. Then further, when we produce such type of individuals, which will have equitable knowledge, which will have the orientations of their rights and duties, and which will develop a global mindset by instilling the skill and by developing the different type of the skills which will value in its education. So that's why we are not focusing only on the knowledge, but we are focusing on the different aspect, that how this knowledge can be converted into understandability, then it get converted into the analysis point, then it get converted into the comprehensive part of it, and later on how we are going to apply this knowledge. And whenever we are gaining all these steps of education, so obviously we are developing such sort of mindsets which will have a skill as well as values in the education. Next, please. Next, please. So, why new education policy is needed? The back one, because as we know that whatever conditions which were there before 2 decades, it is not similar today. So, this policy, it has so many things, because the society itself has changed in all the aspects, like in social, economic, industrial, cultural, every ramification on education, own ramification on the education, it has been done. We know that we are having ambiguous type of technologies, that we are using internet domain as well as, so all these things, the industrial revolution, fourth industrial revolution, it comes through. Then again the sustainable development goals. So all these things, because we have to compete with the developing world, so we have to seek and ensure all this type of equitable quality education, and it promotes a lifelong learning opportunity for all by 2030. So that's why there is the need of this education policy, not only for the child education, but to the higher education itself. Next, please. So this will be the interdisciplinary undergraduate education, which will be flexible with a flexible curriculum, and it will have 3 to 4 years, a multiple exit option it will be having, and appropriate certification it will be there. So the main aim of this higher education is to raise the gross enrollment rate, because at present when we see it is 26.3%, and we have to raise to 50% by 2035. So it requires additional things, 3.5 crore scale in higher education, multiple interdisciplinary education and research universities. Further, I am going to discuss that what are the different type of the universities are there, which will impart different type of the multidisciplinary education of global standard in our country. So here, many of the universities are there, many of the research universities are also there. So IITs are there, IIMs are there, which will set as a model for multidisciplinary education for a global standard. Then again, it will have phase out of college affiliation. It will have the all higher education institute, it will be governed, and it will have all the norms, regulation. Then it will have the accreditation, and again, academic standard it has to be maintained, because and very important part that is there in case of increasing the expenditure on the education, because at present we are spending only 4.6% of the total GDP on education. It should be raised. I think it should be raised more than 6%, but still we are expecting 6%. So that at least 6% it should be spent on the expenditure on the education, because we want to produce a quality type of education. And if you don't have such type of infrastructure and different type of resources, it won't be helpful for the teachers and for the education to build such type of the quality education. So the expenditure on education, it should be raised. Next please. So these are not only the higher education centers that we are going to develop, but we are also emphasizing on the vocational education, because our main aim is to develop a literacy, a linguistic development, and a skillful individuals. So for that reason only, now we are promoting a lot with the vocational education in all educational institutes, because we want global standardization, a dignity of labor, and overall a change and innovation and collaboration. Earlier, individual universities, they were developed, they are competing with the world, but this education system, it is giving a ground to collaborate with so many of the different institutes where we can gain common resources, and those common resources, it will enable the different institutions to come up with their ideas, with the new challenges, and with the new type of the innovative technologies that they are going to use, the new type of skill labs, the hubs, the spoken models, the different type of the facilities, the different type of script, the different type of the collaborative activities that will result in a quality type of education, which today we are, which today we just want to make India a knowledgeable superpower. So by all the collaboration of this different universities, we can make that dream true. Next one, please. So whatever the different shortcomings that we have seen, so it will have a sustainable development. It will have a multiple disciplinary liberal education, caring and sharing, it is there. And all these things, it will have a light but a type proposed of the four verticals that we are maintain the standard of the education, like the setting, funding, accreditation, and the regulation. Next point. Next slide. Next, please. Again, we are inviting the foreign universities at undergraduate level and the entry at various stages and multiple institutes. It will have certificate, diplomas, and degrees, and it will have a credit transfer system. And we have abolished the MPhil program from the newer education policy. Next, please. So these are again rigorous preparation that a teacher, it is needed. New vision and architecture for higher education, it should be there. Like whatever resources we are having, those institutions, it will be well resourced, and it will have multidisciplinary institutional that will be working collaboratively. Then the flexible curriculum, it should be there. Professional education, integrated part of education, it will be there. So all these are the different foundations that will be there for research and innovation, like the Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog, that will be the custodian of education in India. Next, please. Next. So there are new visionary in higher education. So main objective of this, earlier only we have discussed that it should increase the gross enrollment ratio, which was 26.5, and we have to make at least 50% by 2035. So it has a critical contributor to sustainable livelihood and economic development. So whatever the higher education that is there, it plays a larger role in equality, important role in improving human well-being and developing India as envisioned of the Constitution, a democratic, just, socially consciously, self-awareness, cultured and human nation with liberty, equality, fraternity, spirit and justice. So whatever the main pillars of our education system or our democracy that has been given by our great visionary Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the architecture of Indian Constitution. So that similar things we are implementing in our higher education. So it will give education to all in all aspects of life, so that individual should develop a holistic development of the education. Next, please. Next. So these are new architecturing of higher education. It will have three type of the institution. The research universities, it will be there. So it will focus only on it will focus equally on research and teaching. So these universities, they are near about 150 to 300, and on campus enrollment, it will be there. So in between 5,000 to 25,000 more students can be there in such type of the research universities, and the aim is to become world-class research universities and compete with the global institution. Next, the another kind of university I was earlier talking, that was the teaching universities. So this teaching university, it will impart only high quality education across discipline programs, including UG, PG, doctorate, the vocational certificate diplomas, and it will have near about 25,000. And these universities, they are near about 5 to 25,000, 1 to 2,000 more it should be needed. So this will be the teaching university. Third one, next please. So these are the colleges which will focus on exclusively on the goal of high quality of teaching, which will run the undergraduate programs, additional diplomas, including on-campus enrollment. And there are so many, these 2 and 1 type of the universities. They will combine together for offering different type of the courses that will have a certificate diploma and degree courses in vocational education. So some of them, they will be the professional universities only. Next. So these are what we are there today. That is 993 universities, 39931 colleges, 10725. These are the institutions which are there as for 1819. Next. So all these are the different accreditation basis for regulation which will be there, like NAT was there. So again, accreditation will be there. Next, please. These are the different funding agencies. Next, so different funding agencies, it will be there coming from the central up to the state, and then at community level. So it will have a single, next please. So all of these appointments of the faculties, the accreditation, the standard of the education, it will be governed by the single institution, and that single system, it will integrally work for the development of the higher education. Next, please. So these are the fundings which we will be getting from central government. Those are the different fees for professional education. That will be we are inviting the foreign universities, so they will play their role. And again, whatever the approval, whatever the appointment of the teachers and financial liabilities are there. So everything, it will be governed by a single system, which will keep eye on all the normal functioning and the smooth functioning of the different education institution. Next, please. The educational technology, that is again one part. So this policy itself has an integrated technology. It will promote the Indian language. Next. And it will promote skillful individuals with the complete holistic development, that too, the social, mental, physical, and spiritual. Next. So professional education will be there, integrated with the different disciplines. Next, please. Now I'm coming to the conclusion that this new National Education Policy 2028 will have approved from the government, and this education system meets the need for 21st century in India, because India itself wants to become the superpower in the field of knowledge, education, and research. This is what we aim today by implementing this national education policy in India. Thank you so much.